fast-paced, slightly hypnotic. We build our lives around routines, but there is a distinct breaking point where a healthy routine degrades into a mechanical, inescapable loop. You act, you react, and you repeat, completely detached from the purpose of the action itself. Archaeology and theology treat 666 as a demonic label. Systems theory treats it as a diagnostic code for a specific, observable loop. The beast is simply a state of being. It is the condition of an organism or a machine executing a continuous cycle of action and reaction, entirely devoid of self-awareness. It is the animal instinct running on pure, blind momentum. When we look at 666 through the lens of modern systems theory, it emerges as the ultimate mathematical representation of the autopilot trap. It is a structure running continuously at full capacity without ever knowing it exists. To understand how this works, we can look at an emerging framework called the Observer-Dependent Theory of Everything, or ODTOE. ODTOE is a theoretical model that analyzes how an observer's awareness actively shapes reality. In ODTOE, 3 represents the minimal act of observing a single point. When observation interacts and returns, it forms a closed cycle. 6. Observing its own process creates complete self-awareness. 9. But 666 is 3 isolated 6 cycles spinning rapidly without breaking into a 9. The structural definition of 666 is mechanical rotation without development. It is a closed loop of raw, compounding power that entirely lacks direction. We see this exact architecture across modern life. Consider a generative artificial intelligence model caught in a drift. It generates an output, forgets context, and generates again. A massive, rapid cycle of processing data without a single moment of internal reflection. We see it in human biology through the endless burnout cycle. You wake up, you work, you sleep. The sequence repeats flawlessly, day after day, while your personal energy approaches zero because you are executing the rhythm without observing it. Zoom out, and we see it in the societal loop of consumerism. We blindly accelerate the process of producing, consuming, and immediately discarding material goods. Growth for the sake of growth, repeating identically at a massive scale. Whether it manifests in code, in human biology, or the global economy, a sequence of unobserved cycles creates an inescapable, self-replicating prison. It is the exact behavioral mechanics of the beast. The ancient text of the Book of Revelation contains a highly specific instruction regarding this concept. It tells the reader to calculate the number of the beast. That word, calculate, is a literal directive. Summing the digits of 666 reveals its digital root, 18. Adding 1 and 8 gives 9. This mathematical summation represents a shift in scale. Total self-awareness, the 9, is already embedded within the repetitive chaos of 666, transitioning from the parts to the unified whole. Escaping the loop requires a mechanical solution, modeled in ODTO as the O-hat of O-hat operation. This represents the mathematical act of an observer shifting their scale to observe their own cycles of observation. It's the difference between the first-person perspective of an animal running endlessly inside a wheel and the third-person perspective of looking down from above. Summing the digits of 666 is a cryptographic metaphor for this exact perspective shift. It forces the brain to take 3 isolated, repetitive parts and fold them together into one unified system. The only escape from the trap is to stop looking at the minute details of your daily routine from the inside and start analyzing the overarching shape of your life from the outside. This explains the historical, visceral dread associated with 666. It functions as an E signal, an emotional coherence signal. In systems theory, an E signal is an evolutionary alarm bell that fires off when an organism is expending maximum energy but going nowhere. Feeling terrified of being stuck in an automatic, meaningless loop is not a weakness. It actually means your brain is finally noticing that the loop exists. The exact moment you begin to observe your own repetitive cycles, you cease to be the unconscious automaton. The act of noticing the trap is the first physical step out of it. We aren't doomed to run in circles forever. Witnessing our own mechanical nature forces the scattered parts to align, evolving the trapped system into total, quiet self-awareness.